Just going to have a go at making a little ad hoc film here about the Up Plus 2 3D printer supplied to us by Denford. We've got the supplied software here up and running on the PC. What I'm going to do first is initialise the machine. And what you need to do is turn it on at the back here. There's a little rocker switch. Okay, so that's turned on now. What we need to do now is we need to go to Print and Initialise. Now, you only need to do that once when you turn the machine on, and like all CNC machines, the equipment's going to run through homing its 3 axes. Now I've got a couple of door handles here from a previous job. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of those. What you do is you click on them and then you go up here to unload, and as if by magic they disappear. So that's ready for loading the next job. Next, I'm going to change the colour. I've got red on there at the moment, and I'm going to change it to black. To change the reel, what you do is very carefully snip the material off here and remove. No, I didn't want to do that, did I? Put a new reel on here. Not sure how this is going to come out, working one-handed and holding the camera with the other hand. We'll see. Got this thing here called a Bowden, and what you do is you feed that onto here. Excuse me while I just point the camera elsewhere. I'll feed that on. This is probably going to look really amateurish and annoying while this film comes out. There you go, look, I've got the new material and the Bowden here going back to the reel. Okay, fantastic. And if you look on here, there's the little stub from the red material that I cut off. Now, to get the new material to feed through the machine, what you do is you go on to Print here, you go down to Maintenance here, and then what you do is you click Extrude here. Here, a little audio signal. Now what we'll need to do is we'll need to wait for 3 or 4, no, maybe a couple of minutes. What happens is the heater, the nozzle will heat up here. We'll get an audio signal and the little piece of red material will disappear, and what I'll do is I'll feed in the black material. Yes, there's that old saying, a watched 3D printer never extrudes its material. I don't know if you've got that audio warning there. That's disappeared. And it's starting to extrude out of the nozzle here. So what we're going to do, get this little piece here and feed it in here. And in a little while we should see the red change to black. The backing tracks by Mr. Lovekin. That's it. That started to extrude black. If it didn't change colour, we could just extrude it again. This is where we're going to get our design from, in the form of an STL file, Thingiverse. Now, as I'm always telling our students, the real skill in 3D printing is to make your own design using a suitable CAD package such as SolidWorks, Pro Desktop or 123D Design. But in this case we're just going to search for a file, download it, and hopefully we can open it on our PC that's controlling the printer. I finally found the handle that the student chose. So I'm going to attempt to download this thing. What you're looking for the Upper 2 Plus is an STL file. Right, okay, I've downloaded the handle from the internet. I've uploaded it to this program here. So I'm going to print now. All we do is we go print. We've got some different settings here, normal, fast and fine, not very technical, but you get the picture. Click OK to that. I should get another little box open up in a minute. Right, got this next box. Part material not enough, comma, add more material, question mark. Right, don't know what that means, but we just always click no, and things seems to work fine. So that blue bar moving across there is the drawing being converted into the S&M codes that will control the 3 axes on the machine. Got another little box here telling us the time it's going to take and the weight of the material, and yeah, what time it's going to finish. It's all clever stuff, so we click OK to that. I don't think you need to click OK. I think actually it just does proceed. We can see here the nozzle is heating and the platform is heating. When they get to the prescribed temperature, we'll get a little audio warning and the machine will start. Typical. The camera, oh no, that's it, that's good. I was going to say typical, the camera was switched off and we got the audio warning, but I remember now there are 2 audio warnings. Now I think what the machine does first of all is it extrudes a little bit of the material just here. I think just to sort of get the nozzle unblocked. Seems sort of logical to me. Now, the machine is now laying down a little base, which is quite loosely constructed compared to the rest of the material that extrudes for the actual handle or object that you're going to make. I believe it's called supportive material. This is what you get for your money in the terms of a toolkit. Got a little pair of side cutters there. We've got some Allen keys and some screws, washers and so on. We've got a little socket wrench here, a manual and something else here. Please read before opening. These are the bases that go on the heated table. You get 3 of those. Here's some balled up clips. That's another method for holding these in place. There's various things you can do there to hold them. You've got a pair of gloves here. I presume you get these because you get this really quite sharp scraper for getting your finished work off of these baseboards. You'll see that later on. Got a knife, that's not the original one though. A pair of tweezers. I added the toothbrush because you do need to clean some of the feed mechanism for the material. Don't get the toolbox, that came from Lidl. It wasn't very good though because I had to put these cable ties on to stop the lids coming off. Right, now also we'll move on to this one here a bit later on. I haven't shown you this yet. This is a little device that it auto levels the table. So it's got that little micro switch there, and what happens is, imagine that's on the machine. I'll demonstrate this later. You plug this cable into it here and the other end into the machine, and then this goes around and it touches the base, not quite as quickly as this though, in 9 places. And what I presume that does is any discrepancy in level, height, trueness, etc. is factored into the program. Now, this wasn't a really very good choice of colour for the demonstration, but you can, well, I can see it's building this quite nice little base here. What I'll do is I'll come back from time to time, take some pictures of the work in progress. Here's just a few of the things that have been printed. This is Yorick. Apparently he was a man of infinite jest. This little bearing thing here. Now, believe it or not, this was printed assembled. That's just so fantastic. Now, look, you've got this supportive material here. Look, look, here we go, look. Here's a spanner, adjustable spanner. Look, that all works. Again, that was printed, assembled. What you did have to do was it's got this supportive material on here that you had to cut off. This is probably a better example. This is DNA, or a section of a DNA strand, and look, oh, it looks like a real mess here, but it's sort of it's halfway through having the supportive material picked off. Carry on with that sometime. Got a hinge here. Okay. And my favourite, this little engine. Now all these parts were printed separately, and then they were assembled with some screws and glue. Now, if you want to see a video of this running, I think I've got it on my YouTube channel, or if you visit Sidmouth College, you'll see a video I made of this. Now, it seems so robust for what it is. Fantastic. I say, these are just a few of the things that we've printed out. These are the spools of material. This is ABS, and this is what Denford call a rainbow pack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mixed colours. Now I've got a little tip for you here. If you're getting to the end of your reel, what you need to be careful of, which I haven't read about or seen anyone else talk about, the end of the reel is fixed into one of these little holes here. This one's actually come out. This makes absolute sense, because if they didn't fix the end of the material, they wouldn't be able to wind it onto the spool, would they? Now, that's all well and good. When you get near to the end of your reel, you could be halfway through a job, and what happens is, of course, there's the material feeding in through there, through this thing which we call the Bowden, to here, and the reel's free to turn. But you can imagine when you get to the very end, it locks up, and what happens is the machine is going through the motions, but no material's being fed through. Just a little point to bear in mind. It's the bell for lunchtime. This is the progress so far. I don't know if you're getting that. There's the lack of contrast between the table and the chosen material. That's after about an hour. I reckon about an hour and a quarter that's been running. Is it finished?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Definitely?
Yeah.
Good. I'm now going to remove the false bed here, or base, or whatever, so we can take this lovely artefact off the machine. There it is. Put it into the sunlight so you can have a better look. Can you see it there? There you go. Okay, now what I'm going to do here, I find if you give this a little bit of a flex, like that, flex it a little bit, it starts to come off, and you can get the supplied scraper in the back here. And prise off your artefact. What I do, give this a clean off, ready for the next piece. Okay, both sides, because some of the material comes through. There's loads of little holes in here, and some of the material comes through, so obviously there's a bit that's poking through. It's going to cause the bed not to be flat. Now, can you see that there is this supportive material underneath? It's coming off, and also we've got this it was printed up this way, and as you can see, this is a raised area here, but that couldn't be printed in mid-air, so it had to have this little bit of supportive material added, so that can now be picked off. And what you need to do is go right round, perhaps use the knife or even the scraper to get all these pieces off. I'll deal with that in more detail off camera and give you a shot of it on the finished piece of furniture. Those pieces are actually there because there's a countersunk hole on the back of that. That's why those supportive pieces are there. I'm going to show you how to do the platform calibrate now and nozzle height detect. Got this little device here that's got the micro switch here. It's got a magnet here, so what we do is we plug in, there's the cable supplied. You plug this in here like this. Again, I'm working one-handed. Make sure it's clicked right home. And this goes on just up under here. You've got to make sure it's cooled down sufficiently. It tells you how cooled in the book. And then round the back here, you've got a little port here, and you the port here, and you plug the cable in here. Again, you've got to make sure that's fully home. I'm going to take it out of the shot to do it. There we go. Right. Now then, what you do is you go on to prints, platform calibrate. Oh, no, that's wrong. Quit without saving. It's not platform calibrate, it's auto level. Those two are very confusing, I think. Now then, the little platform is coming up here at quite a speed. Very cleverly slows down at this point. Then we get a little going to do that in 9 places on the flat platform. Just coming up to the last of the 9 positions. Fantastic. I've got a little box here. Auto level finished. Please set nozzle height before printing. We're going to click OK to that and continue. So what you do now for your nozzle height detect is you take off the little magnetic micro switch thing, withdraw that there, and what that plugs in to this little port here on the back of the machine. And again, I'm going to have to try to work. Oh, right, it's got to be pushed right in. I think that's in. We put the camera down and make sure it is in. No, and it wasn't. It wasn't fully in, but it is now. Now then, see this little thing here? That is a micro switch. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go over to here, and we go print, and we go nozzle height detect. The machine is coming into position now, and you can see the nozzle there just coming up really, really gently to that little micro switch. Just actually had a problem with this. The material stopped feeding through. There you go. I have a little dialog box here, giving the height 136.77. I'm going to click OK to that. I've removed the cable and the micro switch that detects the platform height. What I'll do now, I'll just run through all the controls and ports, because you probably might not have seen them during all the shaky camera action. Right, around the back here we've got the on and off switch. This is the port here for the cable that I've just used to calibrate the platform. This is the power supply. This is the USB cable that connects the machine to the PC that's controlling it. You can use this switch on the hardware to initialize rather than the software. Here is the little micro switch for the nozzle height detect. This device here, we call this the Bowden. And I think that is probably about that.